right. Okay, here we go. Let's go back and make sure we're all there. Where is there? Cool. Okay. Cool. Thanks, guys. I'm over here. Let me go find, where's this thing? There it is. All right, found it. Make sure you guys are here. Yes, seen here. Okay, great. Let me jump in. So it's a little chilly in here. Let me wrap myself. I got the AC blasting. Hold on a second. It is oh. It is exceedingly hot in Southern California, hot and humid today, and I think our AC is working a little overtime, so it's like too hot outside and too cold inside. So I'm bundling myself up because Lord knows this is how people catch colds. Okay, so I'm gonna get going. It's our food chi that produces Post Heaven Foundation chi. Can you please give more details on that? This is from last week. Our food chi is what comes, the energy that we extract from our food. And that is our post-heaven foundation chi, which is pre-heaven is the jing or the essence that comes from our parents. Post-heaven is the stuff that we get from air and food. So that's pretty much what that is. And when they come together, then that makes for our righteous chi or kind of general chi. Page 121, as a general rule, carbohydrates should never be eaten on their own. You're referring to crackers or a cucumber, or do you mean refined carbs or a salad? Definitely, I mean refined carbs. You can have fruit on their own or salad on their own. There's a very minuscule amount of protein, but I think that, you know, I should have actually said refined carbs and crackers. Soups, broths, and kanjis are highly recommended for anyone who's having any signs of digestive insufficiency. This is because the actual physical action of digestion does not need to occur. Kanji is basically like a rice porridge. And the answer is yes, because the food is partially pre-digested in the nature of how a soup works. So it just gives you less to break down, which is less work, less ATP, more energy, more profit. So they're just an incredibly efficient way of delivering nutrients to the body. 127, recovery is a critical aspect of all that we do. The body needs rest in order to rebuild tissues and recover from exercise. You're referring to more sleep or other things? In general, I mean, look, you know, you went to the gym and did some weightlifting today. You need a day or two for recovery so your muscles build. So recovery is a critical piece to all of that. And the gestalt there is that, you know, you're not just recovering at night. I'm recovering as I sit here from my day if I can learn to breathe and kind of gather chi, if you will. Later on, we cultivate the hun, or the ethereal soul, the liver. Then we lay our bodies to rest and stay consciously awake through our astral travels. Can you please give some more details on that, specifically the hun, or the ethereal soul of the liver bit? So the ethereal soul is housed in the liver, and so if the liver is healthy, then there's enough liver blood to anchor it so that the hun could actually travel and do astral travel. And so if the liver's hot, if the liver's toxic, it becomes restless. And if the liver is insufficient, there's not enough anchor or yin base for the hun to travel. So when we have a healthy liver function, then our ethereal soul can travel and we can remember our dreams. A lot of times the hun is restless and it's out there, but we can't really bring it back and consolidate and own it and know it because we're out of our bodies, right? And we don't have enough to anchor it. We go through a few years of this, and the person has developed hormonal problems, insomnia, long-term exhaustion, anxiety, and low back pain. Regarding low back pain and adrenals, can you tell us about the link between these two? The Chinese definitely have a causal link between these two. It's a big deal to them. When the adrenals are insufficient, what happens is you will have cortisol, low cortisol, low DHEA, low 17-OH progesterone, and then low sex hormones. And so what the adrenals end up doing is, as they become insufficient, you'll start to get kind of an emptiness, or a feeling of kind of vacuitous emptiness in the low back. And according to the Chinese, that becomes a kind of a big part of the low back pain problems that we see, is people just don't have the sufficiency to do the kind of like deep diaphragmatic breathing to kind of support the core. And as the core starts to become more and more compromised, we start to get more and more low back problems, because we just don't have the energy to kind of power and come from the core. Recommendations for leaky gut? Well, like I say, I do it all the time. It's called Restore and Repair. It's a formula that we've kind of co-created with a couple of our docs, and it builds up the gut lining. You got to take out, you know, all of the big guys, which is dairy, gluten, alcohol, coffee, you know, grains in general. So you bring down the inflammation, then you take things to help support the gut, and then you take kind of bionutrients and things to help build the gut, and you stay off the bad stuff for at least a month so that you give your body a break. And then once you've rebuilt the gut lining, you could slowly introduce, and oftentimes it's much better. And for some people, it might take 6 months. So it is a big topic, and I can go there, but that's, you know, we're not going to get to the rest of the questions if I do. I want to get I'm wanting to get started on Qigong practice, so I watched and did a Cloud Hand set, then 2 sets on the members login area of the website. Felt good while doing it, but a few hours was really tired and felt a bit rubbish. Is this a thing, or is it just me? Admittedly, it may have been a bit much for one session, perhaps. I felt gentle at a time. I would say do one, get some rest. A lot of times what happens is when you start trying to move Qi and you don't have enough, it becomes a problem. So I would do one of those 3, and you could roll through and experiment and see which one you feel better doing, and then use that as the basis of kind of your Qigong practice, and then sit and meditate for 20 minutes. Because you might be blown out, your adrenals might be tired, and so using Qigong to kind of nourish the adrenals means doing a little bit with some meditation or some napping, and resting, and not necessarily doing a ton of Qigong all at once because you don't have enough Qi to drive around. And so what sequence do you recommend? Cloud Hands, Daily Dozen, Silk Weaver, Triple Burner, get more into a few chapters. I would say for you, just based on this, start with a Silk Weaver's exercise and go from there. I think that would really support you. Do you have any Qigong for getting the energy out of the head more grounded into the body? I often feel like I have a lot in the head and want to cool down. I appreciate that would be a real inflammation thing, but I want to move it on. Well, for that, the one that really helps with that is the Cloud Hand set, and then meditate. You talk about doing your Qigong in the morning before you urinate. What about if you get up in the night to urinate? That's fine. Just do it before your morning pee. Is that something we should try to avoid, drinking too much in the evening, drain our kidney essence? Yeah, I mean, you don't want to have to get up and pee, because that screws up your sleep cycle to begin with, right? So if you can just hydrate adequately enough with enough minerals so that your body doesn't become mineral deficient, the ideal, unless you have, you know, an enlarged prostate, is to make it through the night and then hold your, you know, Qigong, hold your urine while you do your Qigong, and then kind of move from there. Finding that balance is sometimes hard, and it depends on, you know, where we're at and what we've done. But, you know, to be supportive of that, I think you should start now and try. Recommendations for ensuring toxins are dealt with during weight release practice. By default, if you're eating more vegetables, is that going to help with the process? Last thing anyone wants to do is load up the bloodstream and then restore toxins. And yeah, I mean, I've been experimenting with this right now, taking 50 milligrams of niacin, exercising, and then going into a sauna. Is a really great way of lysing and getting it out there. What we do is I use the formula that we have called Detoxify and Chelate. because I want to chelate out the nasty metals and I want to support phase 1, phase 2 detoxification this whole time. And then using those to help rid the body of toxins while sweating and making sure that my bowels are working. All that has to happen for proper detox. If not, you're better off not detoxing. After eating, I sometimes find that I get a bit jittery. Even if it's been a really clean, healthy meal, I almost feel like I need to move my body, get some excess energy up, or get grounded. Any thoughts on that? Yeah, you just answered your own question. You're probably not getting enough fat. So if that's happening with carbohydrates, you're getting a blood sugar spike. And so tempering that by bringing down any processed carbs and having more healthy fats in there, I think is your way forward. Recommendations for reactive hypoglycemia. I ordered Dr. Christensen's book. He mentioned that and found his system useful for adrenal resetting. But he uses beans, I seem to recall. Comment on that, given that the paleo focus that some people have. I think that the paleo people are going a little too far. I think legumes are fantastic. They think they're a great source of fiber. They're a great source of healthy nutrients, and I think they're really good at helping bring your protein profile up without eating as much meat. They have a couple little problems. Soak your beans. I think that the paleo people are a little too aggressive there, and I think legumes are great, and I think that they will help you with your reactive hypoglycemia, period. So will fats, by the way. Let's get some good oils in there. How would we know if we have adrenal fatigue? If we're not tired, we recover from it. Would vitamin B complex help, since I hear that it helps with stress? Any more recommendations? A big topic question. Look, if the way you're going to know adrenal fatigue is to get tested. So get a functional doctor to do it. There's a lab called Diagnostex, which is what we use. I guess if you really want it, we can order the test for you. They'll send you a kit. You could get the results, and I could have one of my doctors read it for you over the phone or something. If you want that, you can email adam@well.org and have him set you up with a clinic to do that. But ideally, you want a local doc to help you do it. But yeah, and then B vitamins help. There's a lot of things that help. It just depends on where you're at with adrenal fatigue. If you're excessive in your cortisol, if you're down on DHEA. So it's really, I don't want to diagnose over, you want to see labs on that. Page 133. Everything is associated with everything else in Taoist thinking, so physical lifestyle habits can influence mental patterns, while emotional disturbances could show up as physical ailments. What are your thoughts about the work of Louise Hay and others, and links between the areas of the body showing disease and certain emotional issues? Yeah, I love what Louise has done, and I think that there's a lot to that. I see well.org posted on Facebook about that last week, like a sore hip, meaning I have trouble moving forward, that sort of thing. I think to a certain extent that's the case, and to a certain extent, some people just tear their hip doing some exercise. So it's not 100% on the nose, but I do feel like we do see that, and it is something that I've seen repeatedly over the years. For example, metal, emotion, grief, organ, lungs, lung, the ability to take in life, depression, grief, not feeling worthy of life, please speak more about this more fully. Like, how is it that this ankle issue, for example, can represent an inability to receive pleasure? I think that might be a bit much. However, the ankle has both psychic meridians on the sides. So if it's yin chao versus yang chao, and our ability to draw energy in through some of the emotions and kind of move the way we need to move. I think that, I don't like to be on the nose with it as much. I like to kind of follow the body around and ask the tissue what it's holding and why. And a lot of times it doesn't line up with some of these kind of archetypal systems, but we get lots of good value out of it either way. And so, I would look at that in a way that really is supportive of your process to help you along and help you, in effect, get to the place you need to be, and not really, there's a lot of conjecture out there. at the end of the day, something needs to work for you. If you could identify what it is and how it's working for you and get it to work for you, I'm all in. Okay. So I think that's all the questions. Cool. Hey, so you guys, I am like wrapped in a blanket here and freezing. So I'm going to cut out early if you don't mind. It's this office is too cold. I don't want to be exposed to cold any more than I have already. So I'll see you next week. Thanks for being agile, and we'll get you. I think we're back on for Wednesday next week. No problem. So thank you for your questions, and I look forward to our next encounter. As always, I'm going to go get out into this hot sun, thaw out a little bit.